Many people have heard of Harriet Tubman. You may have heard that she led slaves to freedom through something called the Underground Railroad. But did you know that she not only fought for the rights of black people and to end slavery, she protested for women's rights and was the first woman to lead a troop into battle in the Civil War. But let's start at the beginning. Harriet Tubman was born with the name Araminta Ross in Dorchester, Maryland. Her family called her Minty, and the nickname stuck for the rest of her life. Because Maryland was a slave state, Harriet was born into slavery. Life as a slave was difficult. Harriet first lived in a one-room cabin with her family that included 11 children. When she was only 6 years old, her family was separated. She never saw parts of her family ever again after that. She never saw her sisters and barely saw her father and mother again. She was sold to another owner where she helped take care of the baby with her 2 younger brothers. She was sometimes beaten, and all she got to eat was table scraps. At the age of 13, Harriet got a terrible head injury. It happened when a slave owner tried to throw an iron weight at one of the slaves, but hit Harriet instead. The injury nearly killed her and caused her to have dizzy spells and blackouts for the rest of her life. Shortly after this incident, she married a free black man named John Tubman. At this time, she changed her last name to Tubman and took her mother's name, Harriet. After that, she decided that this would be the time to escape to the north. The northern states were free from slavery, and she felt that this was her one and only shot. She used the Underground Railroad to help her escape with her 2 brothers. Most have heard about the Underground Railroad, but don't know that it is not an actual railroad, and most of it is not even underground. The Underground Railroad was actually a bunch of secret routes and safe houses that hid runaway slaves so they could get to the free northern states. The name comes from those who used it because if you took passage on it, you disappeared from public view as if you'd gone underground, kind of like a secret. As Harriet escaped with her brothers got scared and turned back. It was very dangerous to escape as a slave. There were really cruel punishments and very high rewards for those trying to catch slaves. She went back with her brothers but did decide to go on the Underground Railroad again. After a long and scary trip, she made it to Pennsylvania and was finally free. Harriet became famous as an Underground Railroad conductor. She led 19 different escapes from the South and helped around many slaves escape. She actually became known as Moses because, like Moses in the Bible, she led her people to freedom. Harriet was truly brave. She risked her life and freedom to help others. She also helped those that were in her family as well. She was never caught and never lost one single slave. She became a famous abolitionist, which is someone who wanted to end slavery. She was barely 5 feet tall and very skinny, but she had much courage and spunk. She carried a pistol, which she never used, but she threatened those who would be scared to go back during the treacherous journey up north. She said, "If you hear the dogs, keep going. If you see the torches in the woods, keep going. If there's shouting at you, keep going. Don't ever stop. Keep going. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going." During her time as an abolitionist, Harriet became friends with others such as Frederick Douglass, who was also known to help in the Underground Railroad, and John Brown, who was another abolitionist, although he promoted a more violent method of freedom than Tubman. Harriet helped in the Civil War effort as a cook and a nurse, and helped by being an armed scout and a spy for the Northern troops. She was the first woman to be a leader in an armed expedition, and she led a group in the Combahee River raid, which freed over 700 South Carolina slaves. Although Harriet became a famous voice for abolitionist movements, she never did well financially. In 1859, her lifelong friend and Senator William H. Seward, also an abolitionist, sold Tubman some land in the country area of Auburn, New York. The home became a haven for her family and friends as she cared for as many people as she could. After the Civil War, she and her second husband adopted a girl, Gertie, their only child. She wanted the best for her child, so she had her tutored to learn to read. Harriet never learned to read or write, but she was very wise. Her words were eloquent, and she was a dynamic speaker. Tubman freely gave to those in need. In 1903, she donated a piece of her land to the Harriet Tubman Home for the Aged. She also was outspoken with women's rights and joined Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony in their quest for women's suffrage, for giving women the right to vote. Her entire life, she had many seizures, severe headaches from her injury as a slave. She had brain surgery to try to fix this, and even took it without anesthesia. She bit on a bullet just like she saw the Civil War soldiers had when she was a nurse. She died March 10, 1913. She was between 92 and 94 years old. When she died, Harriet was buried with semi-military honors. Today, she is viewed as a great hero and patriot. Harriet is a symbol for the African American people today, as her efforts freed hundreds of slaves. Although she was not a very tall woman, she was very brave, and she made great achievements. Monuments have been created to celebrate her work. In 1978, the United States Postal Service issued a stamp in honor of Harriet Tubman, and her portrait is planned to appear on $20 bills in the near future. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for next time.